Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is May 25th, 2025, and a new financial fair play rule can help Barcelona's contract renewal of Lamine Yamal. Also, Barcelona have decided that they will be going after Joan Garcia. And finally, how Florian Vertz's move to Liverpool could help Barcelona sign Luis Diaz. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and as you can see, I'm currently not home. I'm not in my YouTube studio. I had to do a last-minute out-of-town trip. That's why I didn't do any videos today. But don't worry, I have my laptop, so I'm ready to bring you all Barcelona news. Of course, I'm doing this short live stream. This is not a podcast. I'm not going to be doing the comment section. This is simply to give you all Barca news because since I'm not home, I cannot film, edit, and post videos. So this is why I'm doing this short live. All right, let's talk about the news because Barcelona right now are winning 2-0 or 0-2, I should say, against Athletic Club de Bilbao in the final match of the season. 2 goals by Robert Lewandowski, who had 99 goals before starting this match. He just scored his 100th and 101st goal for Barcelona in 3 seasons only. 40-plus goals during this season in all competitions. Not bad for a guy who people kept saying that he's old, he's finished, he's trash, we should get rid of him. But right now, Lewandowski scoring 2 goals. He's 4 goals away from matching Mbappe for that Pichichi trophy. How cool would that be if Lewandowski scores 4 goals in the second half? Because, look, just be ready. Right now, it looks like Mbappe is going to win the Pichichi, but just be ready for Madridistas saying La Liga, the Cup, the Super Cup. They're all trash trophies. The only trophy that really counts is the Pichichi. Don't be surprised if you see that kind of stupidity on social media. But anyways, let's talk about the news because we do have some juicy news during this live. So I hope you guys are ready. Starting with that, Barcelona have reportedly caught the person who has been leaking sensitive news from the inside the locker room, such as lineups, what's going on between players, what was said to the players by Flick, things like that. And the way that this happened is that the players, the staff, and Hansi Flick were really sick and tired of the leaks to the press. Again, I'm not talking about signings and offloadings. I'm talking about sensitive information like lineups, tactics, strategies that Flick discusses with the players. So what Barcelona decided to do is set traps, give false information, different false information to different people to see which one of those false information gets leaked. And well, based on that, they have identified the person who was leaking sensitive information to the press. We don't know who the person is or what has happened to him. But my question is, if the person who was leaking news has been caught, how is the news about that person being caught got leaked? Does that mean there's another person leaking? I don't know. Or maybe this is something that the club decided to leak themselves so the press know, hey, there's not going to be any more information about lineups and things being said in the locker room. But anyways, let's move on to the juicy news because we have three updates, 3 very juicy news, starting with a new financial fair play rule that can help Barcelona in their contract renewal of course, Lamine Yamal. Now, Lamine Yamal is currently negotiating his contract extension with Barcelona. As you know, when he signed his first professional contract with Barcelona, he was 16 years old, so he could only sign a 3-year contract because per the rules, if you're under 18, you can only sign 3-year contracts. Of course, the plan was always for by Barcelona that once Lamine turns 18 is to give him a long contract and, of course, increase his salary to match his current his status as the best player in the world. The negotiations are currently undergoing. The only thing we need to finalize is how much is Lamine going to earn because, of course, Barcelona want to give him a really high salary to match his status as the best player on the team. But at the same time, they don't want to go too crazy because that could, destabilize the club financially. So negotiations are undergoing, and a new financial fair play rule could help this. Why? Because, of course, one of the obstacles in Barcelona's way to renew Lamine Yamal was the financial fair play. How can Barcelona register this new contract of Lamine Yamal? And well, I got good news because there's a new financial fair play that got approved recently that states that even if a club is above their wage limit and they don't have financial fair play margin, they can still renew a player who's under 24 and has been at the club for at least 3 years. And of course, Lamine Yamal meets all these criteria. He's under 24. He's 17 years old. He's going to be 18 in the summer. And of course, he's been at the club since he was, I think, 5 or 6 years old. So both criteria are met. So even if Barcelona, remember, the new financial fair play will be issued on July 1st, I guess. June 30th is the end of the fiscal year. So if Barcelona get their new financial fair play and it's not good, it doesn't matter. Barcelona will still be able to renew Lamine. Now, as far as registering the contract, under this new rule, Barcelona would still be able to fit that contract in their wage bill throughout the whole season. Remember, the rule states that if you don't have enough financial fair play margin by the time the summer transfer market closes, you can't register that player and it's over. But under this new rule, Lamine Yamal, even if his wages do not fit in the wage bill by the deadline, Barcelona would still have the remainder of the season to make space for it. How? Offloading players, signing new sponsorship deals, increasing the money. If they make extra money from like some match day, that can count all towards fitting Lamine Yamal's contract under this new financial fair play rule. So really good news in there. Regardless of what happens with the financial fair play come this summer, Barcelona will be able to renew their contract with Lamine. So La Liga is not going to be an obstacle. Now the only thing remains is agreeing on a proper salary for Lamine. Now, the second juicy news, juicy, is that Barcelona have decided, ladies and gentlemen, that they are going to go after Joan Garcia. Joan Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, the Espanyol goalkeeper that has impressed everybody in Europe with his incredible performance during the season. And Barcelona have decided that they will be going after him. Now, Barcelona had initially decided they weren't going to sign a goalkeeper, that they were going to keep Ter Stegen as number 1, Szczesny extend his contract and keep him as the number 2, and a third one from the academy. But now, regardless of what Szczesny does, whether he renews or doesn't renew, Barcelona have decided that they cannot miss the opportunity to sign Joan Garcia, not because he's a great goalkeeper with lots of potential, but because his release clause is very low. Now, Joan Garcia's release clause is between 25 to 30 million euros. Had Espanyol been relegated, that would have dropped to 15. Espanyol were not relegated, but nonetheless, even at 25 million or 30 million, that's still a very low release clause for a goalkeeper as good as Joan Garcia, and a goalkeeper who's also as young as Joan Garcia and with the much potential that Joan Garcia has. So Barcelona have decided that they will be going after Joan Garcia. Once the season is over, they're going to make official their interest. In other words, they're going to pick up the phone, call the agent, say, hey, we want to sign you. And, of course, Barcelona will have, unfortunately, lots of competition. For example, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Bayer Leverkusen. All these clubs are also interested in Joan Garcia. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Joan Garcia chooses Barcelona. But just know that Barcelona have decided that they will go after Joan Garcia regardless of what happens with Wojciech Szczesny, because they see this as a great market opportunity. Now, the last bit of news is in regards to Florian Vertz. And no, Florian Vertz is not coming to Barcelona. We cannot afford him. But the news is that his move to Liverpool, which has not been finalized yet, could help Barcelona in their pursuit of Luis Diaz. Now, Liverpool have been negotiating with Florian Vertz for his move. It looks like the player has greenlit the operation. Initially it looks like he was going to go to Bayern Munich. There was news about maybe him going to Madrid since Xabi Alonso is going to be going there. But the player has greenlit his move to Liverpool. The deal is not finalized. They're still negotiating it. But if the deal goes through, Liverpool are going to have to pay 150 billion euros and God knows how much in salary. And this, of course, will cause problems for Liverpool as far as their financial fair play, because this is a big spending that they are undertaking. And so what does that mean? That means that Liverpool are going to have to look for ways to reduce their wage bill, reduce their financial fair play in order to be able to bring Wirtz and, of course, register him. Now, what does this mean for Barcelona? This means that the initial valuation of Luis Diaz of 85 million euros, that could drop, because now Liverpool are going to be forced to get rid of players to make way for Wirtz. So that could mean that they might ask for a lower price for the signing of Luis Diaz, who, even though was in negotiations to renew his contract, he has yet to sign a contract renewal. So this, of course, is good news for Deco, who Luis Diaz is his favorite option to reinforce the left wing. We'll see how much Liverpool will reduce the price. Of course, if it's still too high, Barcelona are not going to be able to sign him. So for now, Barcelona are on standby. They're waiting for the move of Wirtz to Liverpool to become official. Once that happens, Barcelona will reach out to Liverpool to see how much their new price will be for the Colombian attacker. Now, as you know, before, as I said, I think Luis Diaz is a great player. I'm sure he would do a great job at a left wing, but to make a big investment for a player who's 28 years old, the same age as Rafinha doesn't make sense to me, because the two of them will get old at the same time, and then Barcelona are going to have to replace 2 players instead of 1 once they both get older. But maybe if Liverpool reduce their price by a big margin, then maybe it would make sense. But if it's like from 85 to 80 or to 75 or even to 70, that to me doesn't make sense. But of course, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But anyways, that is all the news. Let's go back to watching the match between Barcelona and Athletic Club de Bilbao. Right now, Barcelona winning 0-2. 2 goals by Lewandowski. Hopefully he scores 4 more so he can take the Pichichi. But anyways, let's do it. We'll be doing another video later tonight once the match is over. Unfortunately, I'm going to go. I have a lot of things to do. Again, I had this emergency last-minute trip out of town. I'll try to do another video at night. I'll see you guys in that video. Let's go watch Barcelona win another match. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, peace.